Hey there, welcome to the channel. My name's Grant Tommy, and this is Straight Six Fan, where I like to focus on budget-minded, relatable, creative builds. A little something I like to call offbeat hot rodding. And today it is a Let's Talk Shop with Hops. As you know, if you follow me regularly, this is an episode where I give a shop update because I don't have a whole lot to report on. And you know, the Christmas season's been pretty busy, right? But actually today I did get to work on Project Low Fairmont, which is just over to my right. Fussing with the thermostat housing, which was a battle I lost again. And even if I would have won that battle today, I mean, most of that footage was going to be a duplicate of the last Project Low Fairmont video. So I figured I'd spare you that. And so today, the Let's Talk Shop with Hops, I do a shop update, but also a beer review. And today we are drinking a Saison from Double Shift Brewing Company in Kansas City, Missouri, titled Just a Loon. And I will give you my review on that at the end of the episode. But with that being said, figured I would give you the shop update. Okay, first things first, Project Low Fairmont, like as I mentioned, I I put the whole thermostat housing back together and thought everything looked good. I even found a tiny little C-clip that I thought I'd lost to the vacuum advance on the distributor. Got everything put back together, and I actually was able to start the vehicle for the first time in probably like 2 months. Excuse me, I'm under the weather too. Only to find out there was still a leak, and it looks like everything that I can see, it's coming from the back side of the gasket towards the intake manifold side. So maybe the intake manifold's warped. Maybe the thermostat housing's warped. I don't know. I'm going to take it all apart one more time. Going to take it somewhere, maybe a machine shop, see if they can plane out the thermostat housing, and you know, if they can find anything, figure that out on their own, great. Then I will know that was the culprit. But if I can't, the third time, I can't solve it that way, I will probably see about heading down the route of a new intake manifold and 4-barrel carb in lieu of the heads. So anyway, that's one concept. But essentially, I got to do a cold start on the vehicle, and you know, at least I got it running. And as you can tell, I am up against the workbench, which means Project Low Fairmont's pushed out a little bit. So I know I can at least back it back into the garage here. I had, after I shut it down, I put it in neutral and shoved it out a little bit further. Because as you know, I've commented in several of my last couple of videos how this workbench has just been disgusting and filthy and driving me nuts, and I wanted to clean that up. So I was able to have that ability to clean off the workbench, which was great because that allowed me then from there, also below the workbench, down this way, is where my air compressor is housed. And a couple weeks ago, maybe a month ago, the third prong on the plug finally gave out and actually stayed stuck in the plug, the wall outlet. And so never really having a good time or place to fix the air compressor, I was able to replace that cord as well. I had gone to Home Depot a couple weeks back during my Christmas shopping and bought a replacement cord. So again, since I had the workbench back open to my disposal, Project Low Fairmont pushed a little bit out. Much like the last time I futzed with the thermostat housing and lost, I did a little tiny bit of work on the gauge pod, which gave me an excuse to try out the friction arm as well. You know, I mentioned that in last week's episode, the first of my Christmas gifts that I started to get, and I want to talk about my other gifts as well. But I do also want to let you know, I will have a full, complete gauge pod, front to back video whenever I get that project completed. So I'm kind of right now just holding on to the footage I have. But as I mentioned, the other Christmas gifts, actually, you've somewhat already seen one, because most of this episode is being filmed on my new lens. I got a Canon 24mm f 2.8, which is going to be great help in low light settings like my garage. I don't know, comment if you think you can tell a difference. This probably isn't the best exhibit. This shooting, maybe some of my B-roll, you can tell a difference, but I'm pretty stoked about that. It's a nice wide-angle lens. It's got the electronic stepper motor for autofocus. And then the other Christmas gift I got that I'm totally stoked about is, that's right, an Easton tungsten grinder. I have two mini grinders, but when I was TIG welding there towards the end of trying to wrap up the Rat Rod radio flyer, I usually keep 3 to 4 electrodes sharpened before I start, and I usually sharpen them before I quit. And I have two mini grinders, but still I would find myself between a flap disc, a cutoff wheel, and a grinding stone, having to switch back and forth. And so this is going to be perfect because it's going to do a much better job for sharpening my electrodes. It's the right tool for the right job, and now I can not have to worry about. And even then, so I would use just a normal abrasive wheel in my drill. And technically I probably shouldn't have been using that because it might be contaminated from other metals. But that's all I got for today. Let's go on to the beer review. Okay, so as I mentioned, this is a Saison called Just a Loon, L-O-O-N, from Double Shift Brewing Company. That's local to Kansas City, not too far from my office, really. I filled up a growler last Friday for it, and sorry, the auto tracker, there we go. It's on my glass, not on my face, so I got distracted by looking at the screen. But anyway, next to my office, I picked up a growler on Friday. Some friends were coming in town, which, by the way, I wanted to apologize. The Know Your Neighbors series was supposed to be Friday. I had a friend from Texas in town, and so I had to reschedule that. I didn't do a good job of getting that blasted out. I think maybe on Twitter I did. I didn't follow up on Facebook or Instagram like I should have, and I didn't cancel the event. So anyway, my hope is to have that on New Year's Day, but I'm still reaching out to Monkey Fab Garage as the guest to make sure that that works with them before I fall into this trap again. So anyway, Just the Loon Saison. First off, I can't say that I know much about Saisons. I might not even be saying it right. So I can't say that I've drank a ton of them, but I did a sampler flight before I settled on a growler to share with my buddy in from Texas. And well, my neighbor's rolling up here real fast, so stand by. Okay, so this was one of the flights, or the samplers in the flight, and I don't know, it just kind of hit the spot for a lot of reasons. Although it is pale in color, it's got a really rich kind of clove flavor to it, and some other spice. I can't quite put my palate on it, if you will, my tongue on it. But it just seemed right for this time of year, for Christmas. It has sort of a very seasonal brightness to it. So it's kind of like, typically I would think more of your stouts are going to be able to be chassis for those flavors, but this you can see is a little more pale in color. So anyway, I like it. I think it's a keeper. It's really easy drinking, very aromatic, aromatic. I don't know. I'm making up words. That's what I'm doing. Which means it's time to shut down the episode. Guys, gals, thanks for watching. you know, I'm sorry that the content isn't as glorious as I'd want it to be, but I still feel like this was a really good update episode. I don't know. If you disagree, leave a comment below. But if you think it's cool, share it, like it, subscribe to my channel. I'm really close to 800. I'd really love to hit 800 before 2019. Let's see, I've got 2 days. Shoot, not even that. 1 full day and some change. But that'll do it for this episode. Reminder, I do have t-shirts. Check the link in the description below for my Spreadshirt store. But that'll wrap things up. So let's call it an episode. And until next time, peace out.